So when we apply technology in the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief space, we try to be very cognizant of the technology maturity level of the environment that it's going into. So in some environments, they're very challenging. They're either very data sparse, they might be infrastructure sparse, it could be an environment where there is literally no other support structure around for many miles. In other environments, it might be very congested, lots of people, lots of infrastructure around, but you need to kind of like codify all that together and distill like a wealth of data into something that's very, very actionable and very useful. So we try to, again, be very cognizant of the environment that our technology is going into and how can it be best used or more practically used. Does the decision maker, does the responder need a very sophisticated tool, or is that counterproductive to what they're trying to do and actually need something very simple, easy to operate, easy to explain, or easy to share with the benefiting community or persons, whether that's someone who's lost their home or been displaced, or if it's an aid provider that's trying to do a particular job well. So the motivation behind CruiseNet was it's a bottoms-up recognition inside MIT that MIT has a lot of the piece parts from climate forecasting, impact forecasting and modeling, decision support technologies and intervention to create a vertically integrated, again, forecasting, simulation, modeling to impact structure. So we're trying to stitch together all the many facets of MIT that are pertinent to climate science and forecasting and intervention into one coherent system. In doing this work, what we're trying to stitch together are the many department labs and centers across MIT that specialize in climate science, impact forecasting and modeling, and decision support systems like Lincoln Laboratory, with a partner or with organizations that are out there in the world trying to democratize access and intervention to climate change. The unfortunate fact that I think we're all very keenly aware of is a lot of science and a lot of technology is being invested in climate change to understand what's happening. But access to that and comprehension of it is asymmetric. So I can read a science paper and I can benefit from its information and be more informed. We can all read a science paper and do the same. But oftentimes the folks who are most impacted by climate change don't have that same luxury. They don't have access to the information. They may not be in a position to really understand what is being said because it's in the wrong language or they're disadvantaged in some way. So democratization is often an overused term, but I think in this case it really is applicable here, where we're trying to democratize access to climate change information and then empower communities to think for themselves and make decisions for themselves on what adaptation measures are most appropriate for them and for the individual, for the family, and for the local community. In this work, we're actually partnering with BRAC. It's a Bangladesh-based non-governmental organization, world-renowned both globally and especially in the Global South. And just as I would argue that MIT is a world-leading institution in climate change science and impact forecasting and all of those things I mentioned before, BRAC is a global leader in empowering the individual and the family in the Global South.